Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure and vehicle review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, Dark Knight Trilogy, Lucius Fox, and Tumbler. In the US, this is a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, but I couldn't wait, so I ordered mine from the CMD store. It actually came out to be about $4 more after shipping and taxes in the McFarlane Toy Store. So, let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label figure is simply a retailer exclusive. Whether it be Target or Walmart, this particular Gold Label is a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, at least in the US. Dark Knight Trilogy, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse, Lucius Fox, and Tumbler. Here are the dimensions of the vehicle. Looking fantastic on the front, we have this sort of semi-animated looking Lucius Fox with the Tumbler behind him. The top, pretty similar. One side of the package, Lucius Fox and Tumbler from the Dark Knight. Other side, same thing. At the back, you can see two figures. It's a two-seater. They actually got that right. Here's a Lucius figure, the Tumbler, and a weapons crate. Now, this is the first Lucius Fox figure we've ever gotten from any company, and that is very exciting. And this is the first 7-inch scale Tumbler. So with no further ado, let's open it up. And as always, I did get 2 of these sets. One of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. Alright, now that this vehicle and figure out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. We have the Tumbler, Lucius Fox. He has a total of 4 hands, a remote control for the Tumbler, a weapons crate, display stand, and collector's card. Before taking a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure and vehicle. So this is Lucius Fox and the Tumbler from the Dark Knight Trilogy. Lucius Fox is played by Morgan Freeman, and the Tumbler has sort of a Bat Tank-esque type feel to it. I think it took a lot of inspiration from the Dark Knight Returns. In this video, we're going to take a look at the figure, his accessories, height and articulation, and we'll check out the Tumbler, all the action features, measurements, and then we'll compare them with a bunch of other figures and vehicles. So, let's go and start off with Lucius Fox, which I'm very excited for, but of course, more excited for the Tumbler. So here's Lucius Fox. Really excited to get a Lucius Fox figure. Surprised no company has ever made him, but he's more of a quote-unquote boring character. But that's what I like. Not necessarily boring characters, but Batman and related characters they've never made figures of before. Lucius Fox is a perfect example of a member of the Bat family. In the movies, he knew who Batman was. In the current comic continuity, I believe he does as well. But the Lucius I'm more familiar with is from the 80s, where he runs Wayne Enterprises. Bruce Wayne is Batman, but Lucius has no idea, and he thinks he's just a playboy, and he's running the company for him. This can work for any of the versions you want. Yes, it's technically the movie version, but it can easily go with your comic collection, or any of the other figures you want. Really excited to have a Morgan Freeman figure. I believe the last time they made one was from Robin Hood with Kevin Costner, and that was an old, crappy basic figure from many, many years ago. So let's take a look. Start with his face here. Honestly, I think the likeness to Morgan Freeman is much better than I saw in the promo pictures. In the promo pictures, I thought it kind of looks like him, but kind of not. And it still kind of does and kind of doesn't, but it does a lot more than I originally thought. Face looks good. He's got those, I don't know, black sort of moles or whatever all over his face. Gray hair, gray mustache. Keep in mind, Batman Begins came out in 2005. It's been almost 20 years. Morgan Freeman is quite an old man now. He's got a bow tie. It's a little bit crooked on mine. He's got a black jacket, light blue button-up shirt. He's holding the remote for the Tumbler. Khaki pants, double-jointed elbows, double-jointed knees. I don't recognize the body, but I'll see if I can figure that out in a little bit. Overall, it looks pretty damn good. I do feel like getting a suited figure like this, even though it's with an expensive vehicle and action figure 2-pack, possibly opens the door to getting Gordon or Alfred or John Blake figure from the Dark Knight Trilogy. It does seem like the Dark Knight figures are doing very well for McFarlane. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, I definitely see Morgan Freeman there. I definitely see Lucius Fox there. The only kind of weird thing is his eyes are sort of looking up. It's like McFarlane went from doing side eyes to doing up eyes. But as a whole, I'm very pleased with him and happy to add him to the collection. That is for sure. It's been a long time coming to get a Lucius Fox figure, and it is finally here. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. Let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before. It's a black circle, very thin, very basic, but it's effective at getting the job done. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Lucius Fox standing next to the Tumbler. Lucius Fox and the Tumbler from The Dark Knight. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Next, let's check out his hands. He has a total of 4 of them, 2 right hands and 2 left hands. Here's Lucius with the first set of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. His right hand has remote control permanently attached to the hand. It's sort of sculpted in there, glued in there. You could probably rip it out, but I think the hand would look weird afterwards. And here's his other pair of hands. His right hand is an open hand, and his left hand is a pointing hand. Now let's look at his weapons crate. This is an unexpected bonus with this figure set. The weapons crate is going to contain Batman gadgets, intended for the Christian Bale Batman, but Lucius Fox is the one who provides him with those things that he creates in Applied Sciences. So, it's a silver crate, pretty basic, not too much detail. It's sort of hollow on the inside, and the thing does actually open up. It's not hinged, it just has a sort of top. And you can see inside of there his belt, his gravity launcher, and all kind of other Bat gadgets. Very cool. Nothing actually comes out of here, but still a really cool prop to have for either Lucius or Batman. They have this little small black item. At first, I thought it was a cell phone, and I thought maybe it's like a little key fob to start the Tumbler up. But when I looked at the description of the McFarlane Toy Store, it said he comes with a remote control for the Tumbler. So I guess this will allow him to control it remotely, and I don't remember him using this in the film. When I was looking at it, I was sure it was a cell phone. It has this little sort of dot at the top, which looks like it would be a camera. Incredible lack of detail in this thing, though. They could have put a sticker or some sort of sculpting on it. They had a phone with a lot more detail with the jail cell Joker set. And although these accessories are grossly mismatched size-wise, I think they're supposed to be the same thing. Unless the item in his hand is remote control, and then the larger black item is a cell phone. Quite possible as well. Here's Lucius Fox holding that item, which, according to the McFarlane Toy Store description, is a remote control, but I get more of a cell phone vibe off it. He did use a cell phone in the Hong Kong scene in The Dark Knight, so it could be that, but I'm going to go with the description for now. Here's Lucius Fox, double fisting it with a remote in each hand. And to talk about the reuse from the Lucius Fox figure and previous McFarlane releases. Looks like most of the reuse comes from Dark Knight's Two-Face. Obviously, heads are totally different. I do believe the jacket is different. The torso looks to be different. I mean, if you move the tie out of the way, he doesn't have any of the buttons or any of the stuff like that. The arms look to be exactly the same, and then he's exactly the same from the waist down. Now that I'm taking a pretty good look at the figure and its accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. And now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, he can rotate from side to side. He can look up, not very much, down a good amount. Can tilt his head from one side to the other, at least a little bit. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's missing that butterfly sort of ring that most of the figures have because his jacket covers up a large gap. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged. His torso, he's got a ball joint. The jacket's attached to the top part. Rotate around, forward and back. His waist, another ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back between the two. Pretty good range of motion, especially for an older suited character. Legs, complete as a splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. The legs go forward about that far. Back not much. Double jointed knees. And then his ankle, forward and back. Rotate. Tilt and rock. And of course, toe articulation. Now let's check him out. Next is one of the Lucius Fox figures. And you may think to yourself, didn't you just say this is the first Lucius Fox figure they ever made? Well, that is the case, but there are some other figures I use for customs or figure substitutes for Lucius Fox. Here's the first and oldest Lucius Fox that I have. This is a Mattel DC Universe Classics Clark Kent, simply repainted in a blue suit and black skin. This is sort of like a 80s, 70s comic style Lucius Fox. He's old, he's dirty, the paint's chipping off. He's been through quite a bit over the last 15 years. And here he is, next to a Mattel, Jurassic Park, Dr. John Raymond Arnold, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who could have potentially made a good Lucius Fox. This has been my main Lucius Fox in my collection for a while now. He's got the white lab coat on, glasses, about the right scale, right skin color. Honestly, when I look at this guy, I see Lucius Fox. I don't even see Dr. Arnold. And finally, next to Mattel wrestling Teddy Long figure, this looks kind of like Lucius Fox from the game Arkham Knight. Here are all of my Lucius Fox figures. One's a custom, one's a legitimate release, and then 2 are figure substitutes for Mr. Fox. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for to check out the Tumbler. This is the Batmobile from the Dark Knight Trilogy, and it feels and looks fantastic so far. So let's take a closer look. So, it's got 2 large rubber wheels on the front, and they do spin independently of each other. If you look on the inside, it's got sort of gold piece at the bottom. Most of it's a black paint job. You can see the 2 windshields, and you can sort of see through them, although they're tinted pretty hard. It's got giant windshield wipers on each one, seem a little bit large. The vehicle itself has a nice amount of weathering. It's not just pure black, it's got some little silver, where it's been worn and used over time. Although this thing is an applied sciences, so I wouldn't imagine it'd be too worn. But by the time the Dark Knight came out, Batman's been using it for a while. Like I said, a lot of weathering all around it. Looks pretty good. It has these sort of little fin things at the top, and there's 2 of them. There should actually be 3. It's got more windows where you can see through the sides. Nice detailing, different sort of texturing for the different parts. It looks good. In the back, it has 2 more even larger wheels. In fact, it has 4 of them in the back. They spin together. Here's the exhaust. It has this little thing here, which kind of works as a handle to hold it. Not really sure what the purpose in the actual film is. As a whole, it looks damn good. It feels sturdy. The bottom is pretty blank. Now, of course, it has the ability to put figures inside. And what is McFarlane good at? They're good at making these vehicles a 1-seater instead of a 2-seater. But they did this one right. So it has a little button here that you can press, and it pops up the canopy. Now, in the movie, it did open like this, but it had another feature where it could open just a little small piece at the top there, as Talia did in The Dark Knight Rises. So when you look on the inside, it's a 2-seater. Thank you, McFarlane, for actually getting this right. Boy, it'd be cool if they could sit in the seat and you could sort of lean him forward like Batman did when he's using the weapons. But this is good enough. The 1989 and Flash Batmobile, that was a 1-seater, but should have been a 2-seater. The White Knight Batmobile, that's also a 1-seater, and should have been a 2-seater. It's got 2 pretty basic looking seats inside of here. It's got controls for Batman. It's got a little sort of display in the center there. Nice little bit of detailing at the bottom. Not completely basic and bare. Looks like it has some sort of pedals down here. Can't imagine you can see that very good. As a whole, I am very pleased and impressed with this car so far. A closer look at the detailing on the vehicle. Tire looks good. The sculpt here is very smooth, very sleek, but I really like the weathering and the paint job. I would expect them to just purely paint it black, but it's a nice little added detail. Front looks fantastic. That screams the Dark Knight Trilogy. And the backside looks pretty damn good as well. Now let's check out the measurements of this thing. So, as far as its length from front to back, about 17.5 inches long. As far as its height, from the bottom to the tallest point, about 6.5 inches tall. And as far as the width of this thing, I'd say it's about 10.5 inches wide. And then to check out the action features. Well, as I showed earlier, it has a total of 6 different tires. This one spins independently, so does this one, and then the back 4 all sort of spin together. It also has the feature of the opening canopy. Button at the front, press, release, bam, thing pops open. and of course, allowing you to fit 2 figures inside. Now in the films, the only people I can think of that ever drove the Tumbler would be Batman and Jim Gordon in Batman Begins. Rachel Dawes was a passenger at one point. In The Dark Knight, I can't think of anyone that drove it besides Batman. And The Dark Knight Rises, although not the same Tumbler, the camo tumblers were driven by a bunch of Bane's mercenaries, including Talia. Now let's put a McFarlane, Christian Bale, Dark Knight Trilogy Batman figure into this Tumbler. Here's how they are, scale-wise, next to it. They're a little bit taller than the vehicle, but that's not too inaccurate to the film. Batman would sort of sit in a weird position, and when he used the gun, it would sort of rotate him forward. It was a very odd sort of design and way to handle that, but part of the charm of this thing. This is the Dark Knight Batman with the plastic cape. This is one with the movie 6-pack with the cloth cape. This is the Platinum version with the wired cloth cape. And this is the unmasked version with no cape. The most logical one to put in here would be the movie pack version with the cloth cape. I'm sure you can put this guy in there, but I'm not really a fan of putting the bendy wire in there. It might mess it up or wrinkle it up. Of course, the unmasked version with no cape is going to fit in just fine, but he would never be in the Tumbler with his mask off. So I'm curious, do each one of these guys fit in there? Let's check it out. Here's the Batman with the cloth cape for the movie 6-pack sitting there. Tons of room, complete clearance, no problem. As long as when you put the figure in there, you get his 2 legs around the sort of steering mechanism. Now this Batman only has 2 fists, which is a little bit disappointing as he can't grip onto there, but it's fine by me. He has the best cape to fit in there, no problem whatsoever. And here's the unmasked Christian Bale skydive version. Sits in there just fine. He has no cape, so it's even easier to put him in there. And this guy does have a pair of gripping hands, which you could potentially swap with one of the other Batman figures if you wanted to. Here's the Platinum Skydive Batman with the cloth wired cape. It's definitely not a Batman I really want to put in here very much, but he does fit if that's what you want. I believe this Batman is specifically intended for the Batpod, as the wired cape can make some really cool poses driving down the streets. And hell, you can even put the one with the plastic or rubber cape in there. It does fit, although the cape sort of bunches up in the back and doesn't allow him to sit quite as far down as you'd like, but it works with complete clearance. Here's a look at 2 people sitting in the Tumbler. I put the Batman with the cloth cape in the front, and then Lucius in the passenger seat. Now the passenger seat has even more room. There's no steering mechanism to sort of obstruct it or limit it. He has a ton of space here. No problem, you can push him forward that far. Big old gap there, and then push him back on the seat. So you can put damn near any of your figures in there. At least in the passenger seat, looks like it'll hold pretty much anything. Maybe not the Hush Batman with that big giant rubber cape, but I'd say the majority of McFarlane figures will fit in the passenger seat no problem. Now they don't actually have any of the appropriate figures that sit in the passenger seat, as I think Rachel Dawes is the only one I can think of. I don't think Lucius Fox ever actually set foot inside the Tumbler in any of the films, but this is pretty cool right here. I mean, look at that. Never thought I'd see the day that McFarlane gave us a pretty much in-scale 2-seat version of the Tumbler. This is awesome. Now when this Tumbler was first announced, I thought to myself, there's 2 or 3 things I really want. Number 1, I want it to be a 2-seater. Number 2, I would like the canopy to open up more or less the way it does now. And number 3, I'm hoping the Batpod is to scale with the Tumbler. And I think they did a pretty good job with that. Now in the film, the Batpod, I guess, was sort of on this side. It was this one wheel here, and it sort of came out. So, kind of compared the two, and you know what? The wheels are pretty close to the same size. They seem a little bit sort of thicker on this one, but scale-wise, it looks like it's pretty much exactly like it should be. Here's a look at both Lucius Fox and Batman standing at the Tumbler in the Batcave. Damn, this thing is awesome. We really need an Alfred figure at this point. Please, McFarlane. Now let's check it out. Next to some other vehicles, starting off with a bunch of other Tumblers. Here's the McFarlane Tumbler, next to the Mattel version of the Tumbler. This is for the 5-inch scale basic figures. And this Tumbler is very nice, feels very sturdy. The wheels are really nice feeling, rubber. It does open up and hold your figure, although it is a 1-seater and holds a smaller 5-inch figure. It also has those annoying red buttons on there. Here it is, next to another Mattel Tumbler. This is also for the 5-inch scale figures, but this version has a button you would press, it would open up, you could launch the Batpod out. Even though it's pretty much the exact same size, it feels different. A lot more lightweight, a lot more hollow, made of a much sort of crappier material. I actually had a buddy of mine repaint 3 of those same Mattel tumblers into camo versions for Bane. McFarlane is also making a camo version of the Tumbler, and I can't wait to have 3 larger scale versions for Bane and his army. Here it is, next to a Soap Studios tumbler. This is a 6-inch scale, 1/12 scale tumbler. The detail is amazing. The thing actually has lights and radio controls, but it's so complicated, I never actually tested any of that stuff out. But it is also a 2-seater, but intended for the smaller end of 6-inch scale figures. And here it is, next to yet another Mattel tumbler. This one is actually for the 3.75-inch smaller figures. This is not a tumbler the figures go inside of. It's sort of a playset that you would fold out, open up. Kind of crappy, kind of cool at the same time. And here, with yet another Mattel tumbler. This is for the 5-inch scale figures, and it's very large, but this thing folds out to be a Gotham City playset. Once again, kind of crappy, kind of cool. And finally, with another Mattel tumbler. This is a camo version for the Dark Knight Rises, intended for the 3.75-inch figures. It's very crappy. Here's a look at all of my different black tumbler vehicles from Mattel, McFarlane, and Soap Studios. Now let's check it out. Next is some other Dark Knight Trilogy Bat vehicles in a similar scale. Here's McFarlane's 7-inch scale version on the left, next to the Hot Toys 1/12 scale version of the Bat on the right. If I were to guess, I would guess McFarlane is going to make their own version of the Bat eventually, as the Dark Knight Trilogy stuff seems to sell very well for them, including this tumbler, which was an immediate sellout. Here it is, next to several different Bat pods. On the left, McFarlane, then Mattel, then Mafex, and then SH Figure Arts. Here's the tumbler, next to our big fat cat named Baby. And now check it out, next to some other McFarlane Bat vehicles. Here's the Dark Knight Trilogy tumbler, next to the 1989 Batmobile. Both are fantastic, excellent releases. And I'm really happy that McFarlane made the tumbler a 2-seater. Wish I did the same with the 89 Keepmobile. And here it is, next to the Dark Knight's Metal Batmobeast. Then, next to the McFarlane Batraptor. And now, with a bunch of different various McFarlane Batcycles, from White Knight, Death Metal, The Flash, Dark Knight Trilogy, and The Batman. Now let's check out some Batman figures from different various companies to see which ones fit inside the tumbler, and the short answer is, they're all going to fit. I collect 6 and 7-inch scale figures. Here's the McFarlane DC Multiverse Hush Batman and Nightfall Batman. They both have the giant rubber capes, and they can both fit in here more or less just fine. I don't think the Hush Batman would fit in the driver's seat, but Nightfall Batman fits in there. You're just going to kind of push him in there and kind of bend the cape a little bit, but it works. The monstrosity Hush Batman fits in there, complete clearance, and so does the Nightfall Batman, and neither one has a cloth cape. Complete clearance. Here are some DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman figures. These both have the rubber capes, and they both fit in just fine. Here are some NECA Batman figures in the tumbler. Once again, no problem. And now, some Mezco Batman figures in here. As they get smaller and smaller, it's easier and easier to put them in there, but it wasn't even hard with the larger figures. Next, some Mattel Batman figures in here. These guys have the real thick, sturdy rubber capes, and they still fit in here just fine. Here are some Mafex Batman figures in here. As expected, no problem either. And finally, some SH Figure Arts Batman figures in this car. They're starting to be a little bit too small at this point, but still look decent. So overall, this is an absolutely fantastic action figure and vehicle set. I'm so happy to add an officially licensed Lucius Fox to the Bat family, and the first ever 7-inch scale tumbler. There's so little to complain about these guys. I mean, I would have loved a gripping hand without the remote stuck in it for Lucius Fox, maybe an open left hand. The tumbler, it's hard to complain. It looks so damn good. I mean, a couple of details are maybe slightly off with the proportions of the fins or whatever, but it looks excellent. It feels good, feels sturdy, the wheels are strong, etc. I mean, it would have been really nice if Batman could sit in there, hold the controls, then bend forward like he's shooting. Would have been nice if an actual Batpod could shoot out. Would have been nice if it opened from the top canopy as well as the entire canopy sliding open, but the little piece on top. But these are all minor nitpicks. Vehicle is awesome. 2-seater, Bat vehicle, 7-inch scale, hell yes. Lucius Fox, Wayne Enterprises, Bat Family, hell yes. If I had to rate these guys, I'd give it an easy 8.5 out of 10. Teetering on the edge of a 9. I mean, this is a home run. If you think you might want this, you definitely do. It's sold out at McFarlane Toy Store. It's sold out at CMD Store. If you want it, and you haven't purchased it, and you get an opportunity, do not pass it up. This thing's $100, and it's a great value for the figure and the car. Think about it, Lucius Fox, easily a $20 figure. The vehicle, I mean, the whole thing's $100. Lucius Fox is a $20 or $25 figure, plenty of accessories. That puts a car at $75 or $80. That is a fantastic deal. McFarlane, home run, thank you. I can't wait for the next car, which is going to be the White Knight Batmobile. And that doesn't look to be nearly as good as this. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be awesome. It's a one-seater, which is kind of disappointing. And the rumor is, next thing after that, it's going to be a Batman Forever Batmobile, both regular and black and white versions. And that's supposed to come with a Michael Go Alfred. And then it's pretty much confirmed we're going to get the Batman Beyond Batmobile a little bit later. And Todd McFarlane himself said he's going to try to release all the cars. I think when the 89 Batmobile came out, they were surprised at how well it did, how in demand it was. He said he's going to make all the vehicles he possibly can. I damn sure expect to get all the movie cars, and I think we're going to get a bunch of comic stuff as well. And I can't wait. Bring it on. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure vehicle and action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.